You're listening to Hot Sauce Sports with Mo Cohen, PZ Delarici, and Terry Tam.
I now know that I'm on with a spy, depending on who's the captain of this ship. And that's probably a bad thing if this podcast is supposed to go viral, isn't it?
Cordero Patterson like grabbing some shanks, gentlemen here, and he quote, and I quote, "I'm a grown man. I don't need nobody blank in my balls, in my face."
In my teenage years, I'd get back from high school, I'd smash 2 pizza pockets. Carmelo Anthony never learned you can't live life just smashing pizza pockets.
Because he lost a double bet, what I did is I cut a jalapeno in half, and I filled it with hot sauce. So he's going to have to slurp this down.
Why you give me a fucking banana, dude? I'm not eating a banana. I'll rather piss in my mouth than eat this
Okay,
thing.
so there we go. Stop stalling. Let's go. Go.
Now, here are your hosts, Mo, Terry, and PZ.
And I have returned. Mo Khan's on vacation. That's the thing we keep telling people. How's it going, Terry?
It's going.
Yeah. I took some time off. We actually did some play-by-play for recreational flag football league.
Shoot me.
Yeah,
It was fun.
long.
It was
day.
long, but it was fun.
It's a fun day, and it's we get to flex some muscles we don't use all the time.
Yeah.
Our penises.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I whipped it out. I put it on camera and everything. Go check it out.
No.
Exactly.
It's
so
on
with the Zoom
terryspenis.com.
function, it looked like a normal penis.
terryspenis.com, yeah. Because the camera adds 10 pounds. That's the only way I can make it look bigger.
Also, who doesn't want a 12-pound penis?
That's it.
FYI, terryspenis.com is available.
No way.
Yep.
Oh, it's available. Oh, okay. I thought it was actually owned. That'd be
Well,
cool.
It will be now.
Yeah, let's buy it.
Why
not?
Because I just bought a domain.
Okay, I'll buy it.
The last 2 weeks for me has been a harbinger of toxicity in my body. Those 2 days of play-by-play were filled with so many pictures of beer.
It's very true.
Like just continual. If there was a beer fountain,
Yeah.
I would have drank less than the amount of pictures I consumed.
Diarrhea
Whatever I
City.
made for that weekend went straight into the bar.
I wish I had come to dinner with you guys after, but I was watching the UFC. Crazy fights.
Then there was the Masters. So
We had
tied
that.
in with whenever I could get away when I wasn't doing games, I'd run away to the bar where I was prepping for my next game. By that I meant watching Tiger win his
And,
5th Masters.
It was good because they started earlier to avoid the rain, so a lot of people had a chance to watch.
Well, that's it. So I got to watch the ending of the final round just as we were starting to set up. And I said, I got lucky. I went to take a dump.
Yeah.
Came out of the bathroom and I was like, oh, 18. Oh, my God, he's still up. Oh, and there's the putt. It's in. Tiger 5th Masters.
It's a shame because
It
we
was
wanted
awesome.
to do our drink off. We wanted to drink while watching the Masters.
I know.
Instead we had to work.
We keep forgetting that that's the one weekend we're never available. So we need to find another sporting event.
Or just ask the Masters to change their date. That's it.
Yeah, that to win the most storied franchises
That's
in
it.
all of sports.
Absolutely. They can
Seems like
fucking
it'll be
change it.
simple.
Change it for us. Why not? For
Yeah.
a shitty ass golf.
Do you like hot sauce? We like hot sauce.
Love hot sauce.
Change your date.
Change your date.
So then we had the greenest holiday of them all.
Yes, 420. That
Yeah.
was a good day.
It hit.
I was.
I feel like it hit this podcast particularly hard, harder than most podcasts.
Oh, it hit. Yeah, it hit. Yeah, I was home alone.
It hasn't stopped.
I'm still going. Are we still the 20th? No, I was alone on Saturday night. I wrote an article. It's on hotsaucesports.ca. It's nice.
I could tell. I could
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
it was infused.
Yeah, it was very infused. It was infused with a little bit of buzz from the cigar that I had. Some of this Japanese whiskey. Give me the bottle. I brought it here so we can finish it off since it was.
Not
This-
sponsors
I
yet.
think, this is not a sponsor, but this was in my article. I think it was my number 3 best whiskey
I'll
that
check
I've
it.
ever tried.
For a good time, Suntory times.
Suntory time. And then I wrote my top 5 cannabis, cigars, and whiskeys. Yeah. So it was a good time. I had a good time at 420. And I didn't even realize it was 420.
Suntory's
till I was reading
actually
the article.
Suntory's number 5.
Number 5, okay, because I just got it.
What is your favorite cigar?
It's my. Trinidad's my favorite. It's the Vija. It's they're short and thick, like my dick.
Justo.
Yeah, it has a nice pull. Every time I was writing a description
Nice
of
pull.
either whiskey or the cigar, I was like, people can think I'm talking about dicks in this.
Yeah, at all times.
Smooth, has a good give,
I will quote you and say it's long and smooth.
long and smooth. Yeah, that's it.
Smoky.
My favorite cigar is probably that Trinidad. There's one I didn't put on the list, but I put my father. But like that whole line of my fathers are nice. But the Judge is really nice.
I like it when they're wide,
Yeah.
smooth, and have a
That's
big
the white Churchill.
smoky cloud.
That's the White Churchill, or is that Trinidad one?
I'm not going to tell you.
Tell me. I wrote the fucking article.
I'm partial to punch after dinner. I like that.
Oh,
after
punch
dinner
is
my
nice.
favorite.
Yeah. Punch is nice.
Yeah, brownies were had.
Mhm.
Edibles, I keep forgetting how much they mess me up. But tell you what, fell asleep at 8:30 p.m. when I should have been covering a ton of sports.
Yeah, it was a really busy night that week.
But
That
woke up at 6 a.m. so I watched all the recaps.
night. Before everybody else was awake.
Yeah, because
So I'm just as
that's
caught
what
up as they
happens.
are.
It turns out when you fall asleep, when you're not watching sports all night, and you can fall asleep and wake up at 6 a.m., you get to do a lot of work.
Yeah, I went to bed at like 2 in the morning that day, and I was like, I can't wait to sleep in tomorrow. Like that was what I was thinking. But I was having a good time though. I was alone. You know, it was fun. It was a good time.
It's always a good time.
We had a jam-packed night last night of sports. Let's get
We
into
did.
it. Yeah.
We did. That leads us to, of course.
There it is.
Always forget what it's called. Let's call it the weekly news of news. It only took us 20 episodes to figure that out. This happens all the time.
This is the news.
Yeah, can someone give me the first headline? It's draft day.
The NFL
It's
draft. The NFL draft.
day.
It's literally tomorrow, and I can't fucking wait.
I know.
Can't wait for the draft.
Do you guys have like a draft meal you go to?
Like, no, I'm just
Something-
gonna be at home watching it.
Yeah, same. Oh,
yeah,
we should
same.
get
I'm
there.
gonna barbecue a steak because
Oh,
it's the
yeah.
draft, and
Oh, you know what? I just bought a bunch of deer meat. Maybe I'll barbecue some of that.
it's pretty good. It's
What are you, Joe Rogan?
I feel
Yeah.
like it's got to be like as manly as possible, like a deer,
Yeah.
like a steak.
I'll just go in my backyard, kill a moose.
Yeah, you live near them, so
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's close. I just go on the 19 in between you.
I actually personally, I know that no one cares, but when I eat for myself a nice pre-draft meal,
No, we care. We care. Go.
is a nice hamburger with some bacon inside and maybe a fried egg.
Some gabagool.
No gabagool.
I got some gabagool today.
Maybe a bit of guac though. A little bit of guac is good. Guac with fried egg together, pretty good.
that is good.
Yo,
On
fuck,
a burger,
man,
that's
you're
excellent.
getting me
pretty
hungry
good.
now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that tonight. Make some guac, fried egg.
You're not gonna do any of that. You're lying.
No fried egg, but I will make burgers tonight.
Fried egg to me, it's not a burger unless it's fried egg. It's like
Really?
its own sauce. It's delicious.
It's fucking good. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but you know what? I can go without it.
Most of my burgers are breakfast because it has to include it has to include egg and bacon. Hey, Eagle, any pre-draft meals? No.
Eagle's
I
always
just realized
candy,
you don't have a microphone this
candy,
week.
fucking candy, more candy with Eagle. Fuck,
Yeah, he's
diabetes.
eating candy.
But I also don't think he's gonna watch the draft.
He's literally, I think he's eaten
Probably
so
not.
much sugar that he's surpassed what diabetes can do to him.
But most importantly, who's going number one?
Well, so
So
here's-
who's
wait,
going number
no,
one?
wait, I gotta
Who's
make
picking
fun of,
number one?
I gotta make fun of Duke first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm on Facebook.
Stop doing that. It's really loud.
It's the most un-Arya Stark. It's the most un-Arya Stark website of all time, of course, because she's of no face. We'll talk about Game of Thrones with our guest Mark Simon later in this episode. But I was on Facebook and I saw one of our producers, Duke,
Yeah.
responding to like a picture
Yeah.
of the Oakland Raiders. Like,
Raiders blog.
who should they draft?
Yes, it's a
And
picture
then- and
with a
then
question.
He answers, and then I was staring at my
What
screen,
did you answer?
and then like a
I just wrote
moment.
Edge Rush. That's all I wrote. Edge Rush DL.
A moment of clarity came over me where I realized how stupid social media is, at which I responded to him, "Who are you talking to?" Like, literally, you're just screaming "Edge Rusher" into the sky. Like the person posting that picture doesn't care what you have to say. It's not going to impact
Was
the
it
Raiders'
like
decision of
Bleacher
who they're going to draft.
Hey guys, listen. I'm just supporting my fellow graphic designers.
Who was it? It was a friend of yours?
No, it's the Raiders blog. They posted a picture saying who do you want the Raiders to draft, and then I didn't know what was going internally inside Peace's mind when he's questioning the value of social media. I just asked, like I responded saying that they should draft an edge rusher.
And if you make your decisions based on what Peace is going to say, then you just can't say anything because he's always going to make fun of you.
he is. Yeah,
That's
sir.
literally what. It's why we have this show. Is I get to lord over and make fun of things.
I get made fun of because of how I am on Twitter. Because I'm a little bit ridiculous on Twitter. But
Yeah, you're pretty terrible.
I'm
man.
out there, yeah. I'm
What do
pretty
people say about you?
They say like, "Why do you talk so much on Twitter?" I said because it's there for that reason. And then they'll say, "Well, what do you think about this?" And I'll be like, "Well, I don't really care who goes first overall in the draft."
So what?
By the way, how much has this happened to you that since we started the show? Random people come up to you and start talking about sports. Like everyone seems to want to start a sports conversation with me, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Cool, I just want to order. Can I get my sandwich?"
People always ask me like, "Oh, you gotta have me on, so like we can talk about this." I'd be like, "Well, no, because you don't know what you're talking about, and neither do I. So we can't have two people that don't know."
Yeah,
what
that's
they're
why we
talking
get
about.
people
We already
from
have
Mark
enough.
Simone to
We
come
have
on the
That's
show.
it, yeah, experts.
The other thing, Terry, Duke brought it up. We'll finally get to his point here. Who do you think will draft first, and And do you think that pick is Kyler Murray?
I don't think the pick is Kyler Murray, and it doesn't matter who's picking there. Unless the Redskins trade the number 1, then I feel like they're going to be dumb enough to draft Kyler Murray first overall.
Oh, don't worry. The Dolphins are equally dumb. Right?
So I think the Redskins could make a push. I think they're trying to make a push to get into the top 5. Is it for Kyler Murray? I don't know. We've seen them do it in the past. A friend of mine just actually sent me an article, and it said that they did in the past. They moved up. They traded two picks to move up to get RG3. So I see them doing that. If Arizona gets the pick, I don't see them picking Kyler Murray. I know that's what it looks like.
Sense. It feels like they're sending out the message that they're going to draft Kyler Murray.
You might as well trade Josh right away. Trade him for something else.
If you do check out the official Hot Sauce Sports mock draft,
Yeah, man.
posted by our own Daniel Pizzatoro.
Yeah.
He's great, by the way.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Absolutely.
Very good
He
article.
loves this so much that he literally, for the span of 2 years, has been sending me mock drafts while not working for anyone.
That's
It's
amazing.
funny
He
that
does these because he loves doing it.
That's amazing.
It's funny when
I used to
he's-
have that passion.
when he sent me when he sent us the preliminary version of the draft. He said, "Well, I'm really glad I'm doing this because usually I just make one on a spreadsheet and send it to my friends." And I
Yeah.
thought that was the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
No, but that's true passion. That's what it looks like, and you can see it when you read his article and you see it's all well researched.
Yeah.
He doesn't put these anywhere just to say.
No, he was pretty good, and I think that I know he picked Kyler Murray first round. It's on hotsaucesports.ca. I think it's our latest article, and he picked Kyler Murray first overall, which I don't disagree with. I don't think that Arizona's going to draft him. Just out of personal, I see it. I see them going with Josh Allen for another couple of years.
About Kingsbury, and the thing is, they need to get enough value to trade Rosen.
Yeah.
And Kingsbury's not the only decision maker.
Yeah.
There's other people in the organization, like the owner, who's invested capital
Yeah.
in Rosen, and if he's not going to get equal value, which he won't,
Yeah.
he's not going to trade Rosen.
But I feel like Josh Rosen is actually coming off as a little bit of a baby. Did you see that interview that he
Oh,
did?
come on.
No, but he's like, this is a little annoying. I get it. It can be very frustrating to you, but don't act like you are the next best thing. We don't know if you are yet, but I felt like he was coming off as a spoiled brat.
Isn't it good that a quarterback actually has some level of personality?
Absolutely. I'm not saying have no personality. He was coming off as a spoiled brat, like as if he was. This is his right to get this offer, to get the job. If you went 8-8 last year, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the fact that they went 3-13, that's why we're having this conversation.
I mean, it was a lot though. That the head coach didn't wear a headset for the first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
The offense was incompetent.
No. But that's the thing is that, new coaches like Kyle Kingsbury, hot wife, new coaches like Kyle Kingsbury.
I think it wasn't Kyler Murray that said it was annoying. It was Rosen as it was annoying.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was listening.
I was talking about Josh Rosen. Yeah.
Sorry, I did
Why would Kyler Murray say, "Oh, it's really annoying. I'm going to go first round"?
Oh, I thought he said Joe Rogan. I'm listening.
No, it was actually Joe Rogan. It was Joe Rogan that said that.
I'm
I'm not stupid, I
So
promise.
Cliff Kingsbury, not Kyle Kingsbury. I have no idea. Oh, Kyle Kingsbury's a UFC fighter. So Cliff.
I didn't say.
No, you didn't.
I didn't do that yet.
You haven't done that mistake yet. So Cliff Kingsbury, yeah, just fucking dumping coal into the engine. Cliff Kingsbury, hot wife. I can't say his name without saying hot wife. Cliff Kingsbury, hot wife.
That's actually he's gonna have it legally changed to Cliff Kingsbury hot wife.
Hot wife, yeah.
Because when it's that hot, you have to brag.
Who's his wife? Holly Saunders, full name.
Is it girlfriend or wife? Eagle.
Well, whatever.
I'm
Fiance.
on,
Fiance, I think. She's a good follow on Instagram. So I think there's a lot of pressure on that on a new coach to go and get like a superstar. And he's not going to get necessarily a superstar from a defensive lineman. You know what I mean? Like if he goes and gets Quinnen Williams or Rashad Gary or whoever the fuck or Ed Oliver even, he's not going to get that same that star power. But if he does if he goes the route of building a team solidly for the next 5 years, Arizona could make a run because Seattle's looking on the way down in the next 5 years. San Francisco a little bit on the way up. And then who else do you have? You have LA, who looks good as well. So you got to be able to compete in that division. And I think he's going to have to compete through the defense. And that's where he's going to fall. That's where he's going to go.
But here's the thing I come to realize as a Dolphins fan.
Fuck
See,
Dolphins.
I feel like we are actually perfect symbols for our fandom.
What do they pick?
I don't know. I don't care. The thing is,
Whatever they pick,
but
it's not going to work out.
But here's
anyway.
the thing is that, and this is how I'm a true Miami fan, is enthusiasm has been beaten out of me.
Yeah.
Because I've been through this with the draft and free agency. All it is hope trafficking. You just continuously hope and hope and hope that these guys who have barely any more information than any of us.
Absolutely.
And also
Well, I mean-
half of them refuse to use the information because they don't
There you
believe
go.
in math. And so they're guessing just like we're guessing.
Yeah.
Well, no, but
There's more depth, I guess.
Sorry.
They have more in-depth knowledge. They do more research.
Well, now when you read the articles about how they just show up and drink at the
I guess,
the combine,
Yeah.
and how a lot of them, there's so many ridiculous arguments a lot of times in the room where guys just say like, oh, he's not a Giants kind of guy. Not to pick on the team
does
that
that
would
mean?
say that, like the New York Giants, but you know, I feel like I'm watching the draft and I'm like, how many teams will this actually change? Especially like, look, when you get your franchise quarterback, fine.
Yeah.
Do we know that there's any franchise quarterbacks in this draft?
I think on my eye
Drew
test,
Lock.
Drew Lock is one.
No.
He could have gone top picks last year too. I think I'm looking at Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is, or Haskins maybe. Those are the two guys to me that are the most franchisable, if that's a word.
Nice.
It
Good
is
work.
I just made it.
Unless they open a Daniel Jones franchise and they
Yeah,
serve
yeah.
delicious burgers.
So I think Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins are the two most franchisable quarterbacks in the draft this year.
Damon Lillard took all our attention away from the NFL draft last night.
He
though.
took my attention away from the Sharks Vegas game for 20 seconds. The only 20 seconds I watched in that game was the last 20 seconds.
Because the only 20 seconds that mattered.
That's it exactly.
So here's the thing: is I know I'm probably the biggest basketball fan in the room,
yes.
and
Well,
I know
yeah.
when I talk to
You
basketball.
know the most about basketball in this room.
Yeah, when I talk to basketball people, all of them are like, "Yeah, Damon Lillard is legit. He's amazing."
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I feel like everyone just discovered Damon Lillard last
No,
night, and I'm
no,
like,
no.
"Am I out of my mind?"
No,
Like,
but the more I talk to basketball guys, the more I hear how he's considered like top 5 in the league, and the more I watch him play, the more I agree with them. I hadn't seen a lot of him. We don't get a lot of Portland games here, like to watch games live. We'll always get the Lakers, the Knicks, the Toronto.
well,
all
and,
that
and
shit.
especially it's West Coast.
That's it. It's on the West Coast. It's not a big market team, so for me, Portland, I guess it's not working. You're probably better
No,
off
it got
going-
blocked. It was working before, but the video got blocked.
What got blocked?
We were about to play the Damian Lillard
Play
sound, and
from
it just
Twitter.
got blocked
You're
from.
probably finding it on Twitter.
'Kay.
Yeah, so to me, Damian Lillard is a great player and one of the best in the league, and he showed it last night. And the thing is, did you see what Paul George said after the game? He's
Which thing did he say specifically? Because
he said,
there's a few quotes.
yeah, he said it's a bad shot. Good on him. He took it. He got it. Made it. Whatever. That's gonna be part of his story. But it was a bad shot. It was a bad shot. Like basically saying he got lucky.
So I'll explain what that means. In basketball, that's you're supposed to give that shot.
Yeah,
Because
exactly. Yeah.
Historically,
But he made
it's-
it. He made it before during the game.
he'd gone 8 for 12 on 30 plus shot and 30 plus footers. All
Yeah, Paul George gave him way too much space.
well. So here's the thing. So I rewatched that play 7 or 8 times today
Yeah.
because a lot of people were saying, why didn't he press him? So with that much time, if you press him, what happens is he's going to drive and either because he has about 8 seconds at the half.
Yeah, but he was
halfway
letting
line.
it go down to the buzzer though.
Yeah, but he drives. He either drives and draws a foul, drives and kicks to an open receiver,
Yeah.
open player.
But you know that's not gonna happen because everybody was just sitting. They knew he was gonna take the shot.
Fine, but I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, if you press, Damon Lillard's an amazing point guard. He's not going to just shoot because
So basically, all you give him is that shot.
you have to give him
That's
that
it,
shot. It's
yeah.
the hardest. It's the hardest shot on the court
He
to
was
make.
like touching the logo, man. Like that's how far he was.
But so that's the thing is he gave up what he's been coached his whole life to consider a bad shot. My question to you is: we've seen now Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, all these guys who are good shooters who become incredible shooters
How far
because of
back
how
are
much
we
guys
going?
practice that. How much longer do we consider that to be a bad shot? How much longer before coaching changes to be like we need to just take away anything at the
Unless
three-point line?
unless his eyes aren't on the basket, it's not a bad shot. That's the way I see it. Yeah, okay, he got lucky, but he does this often. You know, he tried the shot 3 times in the game. He got it twice.
So Damian Lillard in his post game press conference was saying that that Dennis Schroeder and the Thunder were celebrating after Game 1, and in a reaction they were like, "Well, we're not celebrating after Game 1. We're going to celebrate because we want to win 4 games."
Yeah.
yeah.
That was their reaction.
Well, and the thing is, Damon Lillard. So it's funny because for the last 24 hours, and this is your 24. This is your 24 hours. You must have had primo sex. Awesome, go get it. The thing is that I feel like he's been talking like the bigger man, except he keeps talking about how he's the bigger man
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
last 24 hours.
No, he's got a little bit of an asshole to him, you know. But
yeah,
I don't mind
which
it
is
at
fine.
all. Yeah.
Again, I like it.
Yeah.
But it's
same
just
here.
funny. It's the funniest angle ever. Like, look, I'm the bigger man. They celebrated. I didn't celebrate, but I'm the bigger man. Let me tell you, I'm the bigger man. You know. So you need to start a franchise today.
Oh, that's a good question. Who do I take?
Do you take Russell Westbrook or do you take Damian Lillard.
Oh,
Damian
Lillard.
Lillard.
Oh my God. It's not even
So
close.
I'm kind of the same mind too. Russell Westbrook is probably
Great
the
player.
best athlete I've ever seen play the game of basketball.
He's the best athlete in basketball for sure.
But that's gonna fade at some point.
Yeah.
He remind and I hope I'm wrong on this, but it reminds me of the first time I saw John Wall play college basketball, and I
that's a
said,
good point.
"This guy is this doesn't exist. This guy can do everything. He can rebound. He can run. He could." But when that starts to age, if you're not an efficient shooter, you look like what he looked like last night.
I don't think Westbrook is going to deteriorate anytime soon. I think he's falling into the Carmelo Anthony. I know I'm good. You should get people around me that are just as good, if not a little bit less than me, so I don't have to work as hard. And I'm going to do my individual stats. I'm going to make my individual stats, my triple doubles, all that shit. I'm going to do it, but we're still not going to win games because nobody else is around me. Where if you look at guys like LeBron, if you want to be compared to those guys, you look at guys like Damian Lillard, who had 32 points in the first fucking half out of 50 on his team. 50. And he had 32 points in the first half. You can't tell me that he doesn't have a bigger impact on his team than Russell Westbrook.
But don't you guys feel like if Paul George was healthy, we'd be talking like
No.
Paul George is the best player on that team to me. I mean, I'm
If he
a
was
little-
healthy,
I'm a little biased.
He was considered to be the MVP the first 4 months. of the
Yeah,
season.
absolutely, yeah. And if he had continued that way, if
He
he
got
didn't get
hurt.
injured,
He was obviously not
Yeah.
healthy. I still think overall the Blazers are a better team.
100%.
Then
they are.
OKC.
Yeah, I think so too.
Um,
CJ McCollum is unreal. He's
So-
such a good player.
And that's the thing. We're talking about all these comments about Damian Lillard and Russell Westbrook. My favorite comment is one that came out a year ago on Twitter, where a woman messaged him, posted on Twitter, respond to something he said about, how about you win a series first? To which he simply responded, I'm trying, Jennifer.
Yeah.
It's the best thing. The amount of times
Her
I've
name was
said
Jennifer?
to my fiance, I'm trying, Jennifer.
You didn't have to tell me her name was Jennifer. I knew her name was Jennifer.
Yeah.
And she had that bob cut, that ask for a manager haircut. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So next.
But like the amount of times in my regular life I've said I'm trying Jennifer since that moment.
I'm trying
So,
Jennifer.
Jennifer, fuck you. Straight up. On behalf of the quiet CJ McCollum.
That's it.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, man.
It's Leafs Elimination Day.
Oh, yeah. It's the best day of the year. For
Every
Habs
year
fans.
since 1967, since
most
before our births, we've been celebrating this day.
For most Canadians, I think it's the best day of the year. It's not the best day of the year for me because I kind of like the Leafs, okay? And I don't despise them as much. If the Habs were playing against them, obviously I wouldn't. But I feel a little bad for them because they really put together a nice team. Their defense is lacking. We'll talk about it with Mark Dumont in our interview later on. But their defense is
plug.
lacking. But I think that they had what it needs. They have what needs to be done. I just don't think, and it's weird for me to say this because I've always respected the man, but Babcock, I don't think he's the answer. Babcock is known to be, he's a rough guy. He's a very good motivator, but he's been in the Leafs organization for 4 years. 3 of those years they got bounced in the first round. At what point do you start making changes?
And we see Austin Matthews and John Tavares just playing 18 minutes.
Because he's an old school guy. If you looked at the way he coached the Red Wings, where he had the Datsuks and Zetterbergs, they were only playing about 20 minutes too. They weren't burning themselves. Lidstrom was the one eating up most of the minutes.
But Game 7's what you're burning yourself for.
That's it, exactly. But you don't. But he doesn't have a Lidstrom. Morgan Riley's not going to be your Lidstrom. Zaitsev's not going to be your Lidstrom. And Jake Gardner looked like me out there.
Yeah.
In Game 7, like it was brutal, and so it's sad for them because I feel like there was a lot of hype, and it sucks for JT knowing that the Islanders made it a little further than the Leafs did.
But
So
it's
John
also,
Tavares, it sucks for you, but whatever.
like, I know this is year 4 for Babcock, but it
He
seems
went to McGill.
yeah, he does. Yeah, absolutely. The guy who Montreal can't hire because his French isn't good enough.
But he does speak French. Though.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
he just has an accent. like everyone in Montreal, by the way.
Yeah.
The thing is with regards to Toronto, this does feel like year 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first year that they've really got all the pieces where they're gonna have to start paying the big bucks to players.
Well,
Like,
they
all the
already-
guys. Marner's gonna be not locked up this summer.
10 million. Matthews 10 million, 10.5.
Absolutely, and to me,
Tavares.
it's one of the best, if not the best, built team in the NHL. Even moving forward, I think that there's enough cap space available to just surround them with.
Not on that team.
Sorry,
Not on that team.
I disagree.
They have no space next year.
Well, no, but so there's movable pieces, like
Sure.
like Marlowe, for example.
Marlowe, he doesn't require. You wouldn't get a big return from him. The
No,
most
I
you
know,
can
but
get
they
is
need to
probably
they
like a
need to
second
get
round
they need to
pick.
clear it for space.
Yeah, exactly.
For someone who's also a contender who's looking for, we need,
Can you get
second,
me
third
Trade
round guy now.
Kadri.
go to capgeek.com and let me know what the salary is for next year for each player?
So I understand now they're going to be crunched on the cap after the Marner contract, but there's money that's also going to come off the books and money they can move off the books.
Yeah.
Even though because they don't need big returns.
So
at
do
this
you
point.
move Kadri knowing that he got suspended twice in the playoffs?
No, because he
So-
was part of the reason that series even went to 7.
If
he's there-
sure.
If he's there, that defense is much stronger.
Well, a game and a half later. Cap Geek,
I know, but
Toronto Maple Leafs, the whole team.
I understand, but what do you want me to tell you?
You want to know what the cap space
what-
situation is going to be
Yeah,
like.
Okay,
tell me
so
what
the
who makes the most money? It's Austin Matthews, right?
Yeah, no, it's John Tavares,
Yeah.
and then you have
Well, how much?
William Nylander.
How much is John Tavares? make?
John Tavares is 11 million. William Nylander is 10.2 basically. Patrick Marleau is 6.2. Trade Kadri.
Look at next year
4.5.
because
Yeah,
right now
this
you
is
have,
also out of date because Austin Matthews.
2019, it's the same. It's relatively the same.
except Austin Matthews gets bumped.
Austin Matthews.
He just signed.
Austin Matthews next year makes a lot of money. It's 11
Yeah,
million,
there you go.
11.6 million.
That's it.
Yeah.
So where are you going to fit the rest of your players? And you don't have a legit number 1D. What do you want to
That's true. That's
Trade
true.
Kadri.
You have to at some point, because he's a good player, and I think you can get a lot of things. You can get. A lot
I
from him.
think overtime Nylander's going to go, and I think overtime Marlowe's going to go.
Yeah, I don't see any understanding. I see Marner. I see Marner and Matthews as the new
core.
Taves and Kane.
Yeah.
That's what I see it as. And I've been saying that since
and
they
so that's
drafted.
the thing. I think they have what it is to build around, and they have enough aging pieces that
Mhm.
they can still. Again, they're not going to get great returns. They're going to be able to get them off the books.
Yeah, absolutely.
They won't
I
be
agree.
stuck with buyouts and all
It's
that.
gonna be interesting to see. I mean, the Habs look younger. That the whole division's up for grabs. Ottawa is the only they're
Tire fire.
they're a doormat. Buffalo looked good for the first half of the season, so we'll see what they can do. But that whole division is going to be up and amok, and we'll see what's going to happen. But the Leafs should be able to destroy that division every year, but they're not doing it. So
Up in the muck,
up
Grandpa.
and amok, yeah. You like that shit?
The other thing that's interesting
It's a
about
very
the NHL
hockey thing.
playoffs is in the NBA, we all know who's going to win each series. It's just a question of how we get there.
Do we need the first round?
Yeah. But the NHL always has all these like upsets and interesting matchups. The NBA crushes it in ratings, though.
Yeah.
Like it's out of this world. That said,
yeah.
honestly, and I'm a diehard basketball fan. This is the best hockey there is.
It's true, yeah. But
This is the height of sport. Is the first round of the NHL playoffs
so if you're if the Leafs and the Raptors are on at the same time, what are you watching?
this season.
Yeah, what would you watch?
I honestly have to say I've had the choice. It's been the Leafs.
Yeah.
For the last month and a half,
Yeah.
basically. Basketball.
Why?
I
Because
had
you know
stopped
Toronto's
watching
gonna win.
basketball after the All-Star break for the first time.
There you go.
As long as I've been a basketball fan.
I don't really watch basketball until the All-Star break. Like I
Well,
don't. I won't.
usually-
I won't sit down and watch a game until the All-Star
That
break.
used to be my rule with the NFL. Then I started watching more basketball.
Yeah.
Now I've been watching more hockey. Man, this show is not healthy for us.
No, absolutely not.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of sitting down and drinking. But yeah. So do we need the first round? I see a lot of polls on Twitter and shit.
Well, we'll get to that later.
Oh, that's not the next
in,
point?
in,
Okay,
in the show. It looks like some more corruption is going to come out with regards to the NCAA and shoes, and my God, why are they like? It's a system that's essentially enabling the worst of society to sort of work its way into our children's, not our children, but like the children. These
Yeah.
people are essentially children. Like we're so worried about them being treated as like professionals and them being taken advantage of, but yet the NCAA takes advantage of them constantly.
Is that Avenatti? It looks like
It makes
from
them.
here.
It makes money off their back constantly.
Yeah.
For years, they marketed video games where they didn't make a cent from.
But their names weren't on the game though. So
I mean,
QB 15 for Florida, we all knew who the fuck it was.
yeah, it was the same dimensions as Tim Tebow.
That's
just
it.
Tebow. Also, you could download
The real
names.
rosters. Yeah.
Um,
But I think those were like somebody
User
created it.
created,
Was
yeah.
it wasn't from
but the thing is that
And if you buy a jersey, like Tim Tebow's jersey has his name on it, like when he plays. But if you buy that 15 Florida, his name's not on it because they
Correct.
don't get a fucking penny from it.
that's insane. But then on top of that, so now they're looking elsewhere to get money. Then you also say it's illegal for them to market themselves. Which why do you have a say in that?
Yeah.
And so now instead we have
Why-
a bribery scandal.
I'm using my own likeness
yeah.
to get more money for my family while you're making money off my likeness. So why can't I do that? They want the kids to stay focused and concentrate on school. You're not when you're studying waste management.
No.
Okay? Just to get Zion Williamson can't get a shoe deal You fucking know when you signed him to Duke, when he wrote his fucking letter of intent and he registered to whatever garbage class he registered
But yet
to.
also Duke has a shoe deal. How does that make
So
sense?
Duke has a shoe deal. Zion can't get one because he's an NCAA athlete. You know he's not coming back to the school after his first year. Why should he? Because he's going to be studying for 4 years.
And also, we're forcing them to play.
Forcing him to play, and it's fucking it's the mafia, man. It's the mafia, and it's very corrupt, and it's obvious. It's very obvious, and I don't see how anybody hasn't jumped in and
So
tried
now
to
it's
really
working its way to football. Are you surprised?
put it up in a muck.
Are you surprised to
that.
see this in football?
No, I'm not surprised to see it in football because football makes a lot more money.
But I kind of feel like in football you can get away with not paying players. I know that some teams like Alabama, for example, you're always shocked. Like, they really get these 5-star players
So-
and
but
they're
it
playing
should
for
be
a Nazi of a coach.
But it should be if you're on scholarship, or if you're on the 53-man roster, you're getting $3,000 a semester. I don't know the number.
I guess
Anybody.
I guess my point is that in in football, there's such a huge bank of players that you can get, and because it's such a team-centered sport, I feel like you're not as you're not as you don't need to really pay these guys as much. Whereas basketball, it's a small
I
roster.
mean, wasn't
No,
Reggie,
I'd say
wasn't
that-
Reggie Bush's mom given a house?
Yeah, of course.
I'd say there's the same amount of players playing basketball and playing football in the States.
But
Same amount.
my point is that in the NBA,
less spots to
you
give
probably
out
need to offer, like, if there's a star player, you know that your team is going to center around that guy, like John Moran, for example. I'm not saying that he was paid in any way,
John Morant.
but that's
What'd
a
you call
guy
him?
that I can see getting paid because it's.
Did you
he's
call
that
him John Moran?
No, John Moran. It's
It
my
was the
that's
weird-
my
Yeah,
accent.
the
It's my
weird
accent. It's my
pronunciation.
accent.
John Morant.
But I mean, he went to Murray State of all places, right?
Well,
And
because he didn't get offers from anywhere else. I'm sure he would have went to Duke or UNC if they offered to.
Or he was paid more.
Well, I don't think Murray State has the money to give him $150,000 in cash.
Potentially. Eagle, our other producer, says that we put 95% of the money in a trust. With 95% of what money? Of the money they would earn, which we haven't established a value for.
Yeah.
So 95%
Okay.
of the money that they would get from a shoe deal in a trust that they'd only be able to access when they graduate or get signed to a pro contract. To which, Eagle, if that's your belief, let's take the money that the school earns and put it in a trust until those kids graduate. So would they do that? I don't think so. That's the thing is it's an uneven power struggle, and I'm looking forward to seeing these details come out. Though it doesn't surprise anyone, I think it's important that these investigations take place.
Do you remember Ian Johnson from Boise State?
Who?
Ian Johnson.
Yeah.
running back Boise State. They won the whatever bowl it was, the Sugar Bowl. I think it was the Rose Bowl, and he won on the Statue of Liberty play.
Mhm.
And he ran in and proposed to his wife, the
Yeah, yeah.
cheerleader, the fiance of the cheerleader. He got letters from the NCAA after that saying that he can't accept any gifts because he was still registered for next year's classes and he was going to play. He was a junior. He can't accept any gifts at his wedding if his wedding
That's
happens.
insanity.
How fucked up is that?
That's insanity.
And he's like, I can't even get money for my family or a fucking toaster.
And imagine having a wedding without any kind of gifts whatsoever.
Yeah.
I can't because my God, my bank account is just getting smashed.
But imagine, it's to that point where they're sending you a fucking registered letter telling you can't accept a gift at your wedding because they don't know who's going to be at the wedding. They don't know if it's going to be a booster. They don't know if it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks or they don't know who's going to be at your wedding, right? So they said you can't accept anything.
Well,
Fuck them.
I know one thing's for certain. We accept all sorts of money.
Yes.
And we're going to talk to a guy who, no matter what he's paid, underpaid, most underpaid guy in the biz based on how hard he works. It's Mark Dumont of The Athletic and The Gazette. Can't wait to talk to him. We're going to get into some puck talk,
And
talk some puck,
and some got talk.
and some got talk.
Yeah.
Talking puck, talking got. Mark Dumont, up next.
And you can subscribe. Yeah, you can always subscribe.
They get the shows, then they choose to listen to it or
subscribe
not.
on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then follow us at Hot Sauce Sports on every social media.
No one, you can't be oversubscribed because that's not a word.
Exactly. So
So-
subscribe just the right amount of time.
Be a word. Toronto's in better shape. We're happy when they lose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but is it a good thing? Because so that goes back to Habs fans get to say they were the last Canadian team to win the cup. But now when we look back at it, that's 25 years ago? That's starting to be a bad thing, right? Like, that's starting to be a reminder that the Habs haven't won a Stanley Cup in over a quarter century. So I'm actually kind of rooting for another team to eventually take that crown away from the Canadians. That way they can focus on the future, because looking back in the past, it's starting to be embarrassing, isn't it?
Well, I haven't. I mean, I wasn't rooting for the Leafs. I wouldn't have minded if the Leafs won. I was actually rooting for the Bruins instead. But I was going for the Jets. For me, the Jets are the Canadian team that I was rooting for all year. I'm like, fuck, I hope these guys win. Even Calgary too. You know, they showed signs of like, you know, some flash and shit like that. But I really liked the Jets, and I was hoping that they would have made a run. It's unfortunate they got bounced. That was
and nobody trashes the Jets because, I mean, you know, Winnipeg gets it enough as it is, so we kind of let them have their good hockey team, right? I think that's fair enough.
The
I don't know if you
Winnipeg
heard.
is pretty trash.
Mark, did you hear Zach Wheeler's comments after the loss? His comments to the
Blake
press.
Wheeler.
Sorry?
Blake Wheeler?
Blake
No,
Wheeler,
he was really frustrated, right? Or what did he say exactly?
He told the reporter to fuck off.
Yeah, okay, well,
Just
that
plain-
happens.
It's okay. I really don't mind it at all. It's better than, you know, we really put our best foot forward and we gripped our sticks tight. It's better than that.
Here's the truth, okay? And, you know, people on Twitter obviously will be like, oh, he dunked on you. But anytime an athlete will tell a reporter to fuck off or will give, like, a solid quote with a swear word in it, even if it's aimed at us, the person asking the question, that's gold. We love that. Even if we're the ones that are taking the heat, that is exactly what you look for from athletes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and that's the thing is like we like constantly on this show and otherwise we're always making fun of the generic tweets, the generic comments that athletes make. So we want as fans, and we are all above all fans of sports. We want authenticity. And that's often the shape it takes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but we're just so hypocritical about it, right? Like, it's as soon as an athlete finally says something, we're like, oh, I can't believe he said that. And then, you know, deep down inside, we're like, oh, nice. You know, someone said something interesting.
I can't wait for someone to tell me to fuck off, Mark. I can't wait. That's my childhood dream was for an athlete to tell me to fuck off.
Fuck off.
Thanks,
maybe if you interview John Tortorella, your dream will come true sooner than later.
To me, John Tortorella is the unofficial mascot of this podcast. He's exactly what we want. The raging coach, angry face. Mark,
Cajun.
we also had you here because, look, we have a few guys we can go to for hockey analysis. Yours is always, of course, the best of the best. But more importantly, we need to get your professional Game of Thrones analysis. Before the interview, we all talked a little bit about how we thought it was Game of Bore for a little bit. Yeah. What are your thoughts going in? I want to know your theories on what's going to happen the rest of the season.
Yeah.
You know, my theory is that they hired these writers to do an adaptation of a novel, and that was going really well. Now that they actually have to write some stuff, like they actually have to write a story, it feels like the most anticlimactic thing in the history of the world, right? Like, you know, we've been waiting for dragons for all these seasons, and I mean, in real time, it's been years.
Yeah.
Now they're finally here, they're grown, and it's supposed to be a big deal getting on a dragon. This is supposed to be like a big, you know, will he accept you? Will he kill you? Will he burn you alive? But it's like, no, oh, by the way, you're a dragon rider now. Oh, yeah, and your father was a Targaryen. You're a Targaryen. You just had sex with your sister, your aunt, or I don't know what it was. But we got to cut to the next scene, so that's it, you know? And you're kind of there like, oh, wow, that was it. They just revealed like two of the biggest plot points. And they wrapped it up real quickly. So to me, guys, it feels like these are writers that are on a deadline. They've got to finish the story, and they're just cramming it in there.
The next episode took 55 days to film. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's
last time.
Yeah, and that's what it is, right? It's always been like that. It's been like a setup episode for 3 and 9. But this year, how many? They're doing 6 or how many episodes are they doing?
I believe there's 6 episodes total. The last 2 are going to be 2 hours in length.
Yeah, so
that's like busting balls for all of us that are busy. Yeah. There's the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. I gotta find like 2 hours in the morning to wake up, watch the show, so that it doesn't get ruined for me before I go to work.
Plus
and so we have something to talk about on this show.
I dodged spoilers for 2 weeks on the internet though, so I just watched the episodes this morning. So you can do it. Yeah, as soon as you start seeing tweets, you just shut everything off and you're good to go. But no, it feels like they're really trying to get everything in, you know, like reveal the incest, but that's not a big deal. Let's move on. Let's move right along. There's a big battle coming, and even once that's taken care of, there's other issues. I really feel like they scheduled one more season when they should have had 2 or 3, right? Like they're pushing this to the limit, and the writing is bad. Like this, and I don't want to be one of those nerds that's like, the dragon didn't have good character. No, it's just flat out bad writing. And so, And the last thing I'm going to rant about is they really need to stop it with how dark these scenes are. I'm staring at the screen and I'm like, shit, did my feed go out? No, I can hear audio.
Yeah.
But, okay, no, they're just in a cave for like 40 minutes.
and half of these characters, fucking Littlefinger, the worst for this, would just whisper talking. Yo, I don't need to jack my TV to 80 to be able to hear you. Just like use your face to show me that it's an intense moment.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's making me feel old there, this series. But that being said, I look forward to the carnage and the battle. The only thing is, I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, good. The next battle, it'll be in the dark. So I'll have no idea what the hell's going on. Maybe it'll be a cool battle, but I won't know.
Hey, Mark, there was a lot of controversy concerning the area scene, the area sex scene. There was some
Arya sex scene.
Yeah, and some writers have even said that it was unearned and stuff like that. Do you have any opinion on that scene itself?
How old is she?
Right now she's 22.
Oh,
but
okay.
in the show she's younger.
Yeah, but what did some people call it?
I think that a writer from Deadspin was saying that it was unearned, that it was just to satisfy the viewer's lust.
Unearned.
Yeah. That's
a writer from Deadspin. Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know that blog where they just say the opposite thing, Mark?
Yeah. So like we're so darn woke all the time. Like look how woke we are. Listen, I mean, it's funny because a lot of people have complained about this show in the past, and not to get all incel about it, but like when we look at the past, there was a lot of ugliness. There was a lot of dirt, disease, death, sex, rape, stuff like that. So maybe unearned in the sense that we're supposed to unlock some sort of magical formula to eventually see a sex scene there. But a lot of times people go to war, the last thing they want to do is have sex. And that's like, there's historical proof there. So, it's not a fairy tale. It's a pretty ugly show when you look at it. Yeah. There's a lot of, like, you end up cheering for some really terrible people.
Oh yeah,
they kill the good ones right off the bat, and that's the story, right? Like Eddard Stark, everyone's like, oh, he's so noble, he's so pure, and that's why he dies. Yeah. That's why he dies immediately, and he loses his entire family. So, it's telling a more real story, but it's not telling a pretty story. Let's face it.
So we're going from sex to people who are going to have a lot of sex. Probably had it last night. It was the San Jose Sharks.
Oh yeah.
And the San Jose Sharks players really showed the size of their testicles based on that penalty that happened. That so-called major, we would call it. What did you think about the game? I was up late because I put some money on it, so it was perfect. I was watching.
That was quite the transition there. I just wanted to know that was quite the transition. Okay,
that's what we do. We go sex, sharks, alliteration. That's all. Yeah, that's as far as we go for a transition.
I'm surprised you didn't make it all the way to Joe Thornton there. So I'm old, guys. Like I forget where I am, but I'm a lot closer to 50 than I am to 20 now. And I fell asleep. It was 2-0. In my mind, it was as good as done. So I missed the entire thing.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I mean, I was up. I was at my buddy's house, passed out on his couch. Second intermission came, 3-0. I had put money on the Sharks.
Right.
I drove home. I started watching the game. Second wind, and then they started going.
Well, it was a 5-minute major, right? So
how do you bet on hockey? I've watched 10,000 hockey games, and I analyze it for a living, and I have all the numbers, and I have all the betting numbers, and I have all the black box statistics. And that's the scariest thing in the world is betting on hockey. Cause
when you have too much knowledge, you should not bet.
Well, that's the thing. It's absolute bullshit, though, right? Because, like, nothing ever goes according to plan in hockey, which is kind of why we all watch. So kudos to you for doing that. But you know what really gets me, guys, is if the game was 1-1, is there a call there?
That's a very good question.
I don't think so.
So what Gord Miller said after the game was he said, so the ref is stuck in a position where a guy gets hit. He didn't see what happened exactly. He just saw a scrum. Guy gets hit. He falls, blood. You can't call a 2-minute penalty there.
That was a 5-minute major.
Yeah, but you can't just call it 2 minutes. So he's going to call
something
regardless.
Call what you haven't seen.
That too. But what they saw in the scrum is that it was a penalty. So
I feel like this is kind of a symptom of how the refereeing is in the NHL. It's more a situational thing than an actual based on what happened. And like, this goes beyond the injury, right? Okay, first of all, that looked really bad. Like, the guy was bleeding from his head. Yep. There's very few parts of your body where you can bleed from that's more serious than your head. But that being said, if you look at, like, how many penalties are drawn and taken every year by teams, they always correlate super closely. So what that tells you is the referees are more interested in kind of keeping it even. And then, if you're losing one game, okay, you get a power play. If you're winning the next game, you're probably going to get a penalty kill. So it's more of a situational thing. And I feel like that kind of, what they're doing is they're trying to take themselves out of it, right? But really what they're doing is they're making themselves even more of a part of it, because by trying not to influence the end, they end up doing it more than they ever would.
But what can you do if you're the ref in that situation? It's 3-0. Do you expect the San Jose Sharks to score 4 goals on a 5-minute power play? I don't think anybody expected that. I don't think the San Jose Sharks expected that. That's the part that's freaky to me. Say what you want. The Las Vegas can be upset all they want. Your team still allowed 4 goals in 5 minutes. So that's your problem.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing is that everyone loves Gerald Gallant, that they, constant compliments. The guy left Derek England and who McNabb, I think, was his defensive partner on, and they got scored 3 on the 4 goals, right? So, yeah, there was obviously some issues there, but the thing is, I don't think that call was really a result of of what happened, but rather the situation in which it happened. And to me, that just means that they probably wouldn't have called it in overtime, and that's just the frustrating part there. But you know what they could have done? Have a little huddle. Your linesman saw something. There's 4 guys on the ice. You have your own team there. Like, there's 5 guys on one team, 5 on the other, and you have 4 on your team. Take a little huddle there, because that's huge. And no, you don't expect 4 goals, but a 5-minute major is one of the biggest advantages you can get in sport, in all of sport. So I think you have to get that one right. Yeah,
absolutely.
So we spoke about Game of Thrones. We talked about this game here with the San Jose Sharks just all going out having a bunch of group sex. The angriest sex, of course, has to belong to Tortorella and his Blue Jackets. Mark, how can you describe the coaching job he's done in the late part of the season and then into the playoffs, beating the heavily favored Tampa Bay Lightning?
That was another really smooth transition there.
Nice. All day, baby.
From Tortorella, angry sex to the second round.
Look, but to be fair, like when you see Tortorella, you see angry sex.
That's not true. I don't see it that way.
No. I bet you he's like lover? He's a Romeo lover there. Yeah. Like he's lighting candles and shit and giving back massages. He doesn't even want to make love to the woman.
I feel like you guys fell for his Tinder profile.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I swiped right or whatever the hell it is. That's the good one. But here's the thing, guys. Like, we look at everyone's like, oh, Tampa choked, bunch of chokers. They should blow it up, which is okay. That's bullshit. First of all, it's really tough to win the Stanley Cup. Keep in mind, like Washington, it took them 12 years? 12 years of getting kicked in the balls every single year. Like they would make it to the same area every single year for over a decade, and they'd get a swift kick in the nuts. And they started over and over and over, and they didn't blow up their core because they knew this is a good team. So first of all, Tampa's got to keep that together. They've got a good team there. But second of all, I feel like we really underrate what the Blue Jackets did at the deadline. This isn't an 8 seed. If they had that team the whole year, they'd probably have home ice advantage. So, to me, yes, Tortorella's been good, and he's really inspired the troops, but I think we got to give a huge, stick tap to Jarmo Kekalainen.
Oh, yeah.
He took a huge risk at the deadline. Like, this is a league full of old white dudes that don't do squat. They just sit there and my prospects are coming up. It's going to be good. Kekalainen, exactly. Kekalainen went for it. Like, and when's the last time we can see that someone really went for it at the deadline? Obviously, situation in Columbus is different. You can't do that everywhere, but I'm happy to see that team succeeding. Because the NHL is boring. We need more trades.
What would you have rathered if he sat back and traded a top prospect for more picks? Like, what would the city of Columbus want? And he said, "Fuck it, we're gonna."
That's probably the safest thing, right?
Yeah,
that's probably the safest thing, though. Like we've been trained as, whether in your media or fans or even the management, we've been trained that safe is the right approach, but in the long run, I mean, you gotta go for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, eventually, you gotta make your move. So. Which is why I look at the Habs now and I think, like, they're not that far off. Yeah, there's huge holes in that roster, but if they can be a little ambitious, I genuinely think that you can turn that into a contender with a couple moves.
Absolutely, with a lot of cap space, and the cap's going up by a few million this year as well, and they have a lot of prospects coming up like Suzuki and Palin. Obviously, we saw him. What was your biggest, I'd say, surprise? Is it Calgary losing? Is it Pittsburgh getting swept? Is it, let's say we spoke about Tampa Bay. What's your biggest surprise so far in the playoffs?
I guess that Kadri took only 2 games to get suspended. I had my money on 3. So that was big news to me that he, they say the Leafs didn't improve this year, but Kadri took half the time to get suspended.
He's
so
got to be traded, right? He's got to be traded.
I don't think so.
I guess, but like for what $5 million, you don't get better value than that. Like you legitimately don't get better value than a Nazem Kadri, third line center who is a top 6 talent. He'll pot about 20 goals a year. That's good stuff right there. But you need to address the defense, right? It's boring, but it doesn't matter how many good forwards you have. You got to have solid defense, and I think that's been the Achilles heel for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I think they realized it too.
Our producer Mark has told us 2 things. One is interesting considering it's not a live podcast. It's 2-0 for Washington.
Yeah.
So that's going to be relevant to no one who listens to this tomorrow. The other thing is he wanted me to say spoiler alert, which as soon as we said Game of Thrones, you should have known.
That our nerd producer is going to get some
spoilers. We're going to talk spoilers. Mark, in your opinion, who sits on the throne at the end of the season?
There you go.
How about that for transition, Mark?
Yeah, that was clean. That was good. I'm going to go with the Night King. That's who I'm rooting for in this whole thing. Yeah. I want them to win because like no matter what, he's a better leader. He makes more sense. If I'm gonna have to trust someone, I'll take the guy that's adopting all the abandoned babies. That's who you want as your leader. Okay, so you want the Night King to win, and you want him to kill all the terrible humans. That's the goal here.
You want the guy that can lead a bunch of people that can't breathe.
See, like so.
Oh, hey, that's free healthcare right there, man. Like, boom, problem
Bernie
solved.
Sanders, baby.
I have a theory, and it goes along with your theory about the decreasing quality of the writing, Mark. They keep talking about that is undead cannot die. I have a feeling that it's foreshadowing Jon Snow sitting on the throne because he's dead, and it's the ending nobody actually wants, but it's a cheap cop out for HBO.
He's gonna sacrifice himself and die, and it's gonna end up being.
Oh God!
Throne,
I hope so. You're talking about Jon Snow. I hope he dies, man. Like that character, man, he pisses me off. What a wet noodle character right there. Eh? Like, oh my God, like the Stark women in that show, badasses. They're badasses. They know they do Sansa's. Well, Sansa's the smart one, though, right? Yeah. She's the smart one. Arya's the crazy one that can kill you. Yeah. And then you got Jon Snow, who's just this idiot. Like, he's a lovable idiot. Yeah. That's who he is.
He knows nothing.
He knows nothing.
In his own defense, he did say that.
He did say it.
That was Mark Dumont. He joined us, of course, he
still is Mark
Dumont. He still is. Yeah. He hasn't changed. He joins us, of course, of The Athletic and Montreal Gazette. Mark, do you have any articles out currently?
Not on the Gazette. Actually, I wrote my last article for the Gazette last week, so I'm going to go on summer hiatus there because I need to go fishing.
Oh, amazing!
But I can't. I moved to Montreal 2 years ago, and it's okay, but I miss fishing because I used to go ice fishing 10 times a year, and I'd be on a boat all summer long.
I've never gone ice fishing. I've always wanted.
We got next winter. We got to do ice fishing trip on Mark Dumont.
A live podcast.
Well, you got to do it soon because in 5 winters, I don't think we'll have enough ice there in the middle of winter to do it. But so I can't wait to do that. But in the meantime, you can check out all my stuff on The Athletic. We're doing wrap-ups on the Laval Rocket. So if anyone's interested in Joël Bouchard, he's going to be, I think, one of the next big coaches in the NHL. So he gave me a lot of cool quotes.
That's
He's a good
awesome.
guy as well.
That's so again, if you're interested in anything from the changing Snow to Garth Snow to Jon Snow, Mark Dumont's your guy, The Athletic. Thanks, Mark, for joining us.
Yeah, and I am the president of the Garth Snow fan club, so absolutely. Awesome. Anyone wants a lifetime membership, let me know.
I'm in. Sold.
Thanks, Mark.
And you can subscribe. Yeah, you can always subscribe.
They get the shows. Then they choose to listen to it or
subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then follow us at Hot Sauce Sports on every social media.
No one, you can't be oversubscribed because that's not a word.
Exactly. So subscribe just the right amount of time.
Be a word. Fastball, and then there was no off speed. That was just the speed he threw at.
Yeah.
So it sucks. I like Zach Wheeler a lot. I thought he was going to be the next
He was very good.
Team.
He was very good for an up-and-coming Mets team at that time.
But without any delay, let's get into rapid fire.
Rapid fire topics.
What do you got for us, Duke?
No shirt needed. Russell Wilson signs.
Russell Wilson gets the contract after getting the contract, mid-contract, decides, I want more money.
And
all the power.
cornrows. And cornrows.
Sorry.
And
He's
cornrows,
got
yeah.
cornrows.
And
now.
cornrows. I love that he announces it shirtless, clearly after just having sex.
Or about to go for round 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's like, yo, I need like 2 minutes to recover.
Best looking
Take out his
family
phone.
of all time, or
Sorry?
Best looking family of all time? No.
It's up there.
Oh man,
It's up there with the Currys.
like I saw some pictures of the family, like the kids and shit. And Ciara's beautiful, we all know. Remember there was rumors about Ciara that she was a man.
One of them's not his kid though. One of them's Future's kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Still a good
Future
family.
Future
Still a
Junior.
good-looking
So,
family.
look, sometimes you gotta outsource. Sometimes you gotta outsource.
But there was a rumor that Ciara was a man for like a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. Because I guess she has like a strong bone structure.
I mean, I guess.
Like,
Happy,
I'd be gay for her. That's
happy
for, sure.
for the dude and happy for round 2.
So good for him. $140 million. Russell Wilson, well deserved. Good quarterback. Gonna last 4 years and retire.
Grabby hand Luke Walton.
This is fucked up.
So your initial reaction, I remember, was, but she went to his bedroom, and then the next day the article came out with, he said, "Yo, come to my room. We're gonna talk about me writing a forward for your book." Then he got too forward and just kept pushing himself on her, and then the question always comes up, well, why didn't you say it at the time? And she's like, well, I'm a sports writer. My job depends on this relationship with him in the market. Now he's no longer in my market.
So good on her. So I believe her. Where some of these stories come out, I feel like people are just going out for money or whatever it is. With her, I believe her that I think that he just thought that he had a chance, and she was being a little resistant, and then he just he forechecked a little harder, and she didn't like it, and she came out later. So, I mean, it's tough for Luke.
He kept making comments too afterwards.
To her?
Yeah, like saying like stuff like, "Oh, how am I supposed to focus with the way you're dressed?"
Oh,
And-
fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's so far it doesn't look good. It doesn't look. It looks like
Anyway.
so like Luke Walton in his career was known as the glue guy. Maybe a little less glue, make it a little less
A
clingy.
lot more.
The Sacramento Fire.
His glue is sperm.
Yes.
The Sacramento
Perfect.
Fire.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The glue is sperm.
Sharks bike back.
Yo, this is crazy, man. So I was only watching because I had money riding on it, and down 3-0. Sharks get a face off in the Vegas zone. As you see here in the video, cross check by Cody Eakin to Pavelski. Man, I feel so bad for Pavs. And then Paul Stastny, as he's there, he kind of trips him, and Pavelski, just a freak play. Pavelski falls, hits his head, blood come out, and Cody Eakin gets a major because of the blood. So you guys think it wasn't a clean hit?
No, was not at all. I mean, the second hit
That
more
was
anything
the
else.
cleanest hit you can get in
You know what
hockey
it is?
playoffs.
It's also that because it's on skates sometimes that when these guys get hit backwards, they have no control.
Did you see where? Okay, why is it dirty to you?
I think it's the second hit that when he
Why
was
is it
going
dirty?
down, he got hit a second time, and it was like just to put him down.
It does appear it could have been a cross check.
It is a cross check
You guys.
to his arms, which happens in almost every
I
face-off.
understand. I understand. I know that the target likely was not the face,
But he didn't touch his face.
So like I'm sort of split between you two. I know it should have been a penalty. I've never seen it called as a 5-minute major.
That
Because
was
of the
crazy.
blood,
That
yeah,
we
it
would
was
agree. It's too
I
much.
understand, but so like in my opinion, you can't just call based on the result.
Absolutely, I agree.
You need to call a penalty.
But when
because
it's- when
so
it's
then
blood,
if
it's
the
an
same exact
automatic
action
double
doesn't
minor.
draw blood, it's not a 5-minute penalty.
So if there's no blood, if there's blood, it's automatically a double minor. So it's a 4-minute penalty, automatic. The fact that Pavelski couldn't get up and he had to be helped off, that's why they put it to a major. So like I said to Mark in the interview, what are you if you're the ref in this situation? If you call 2 minutes, you're in San Jose. If you call 2 minutes to that, or you don't call anything, the fans are going to lose their mind like they did. They threw shit on the ice. The fans lose their mind. The coaches lose their mind because they just lost their captain. He's not a fourth line guy that nobody really knows. He's Joe fucking Pavelski. He's their captain.
Yeah, arguably the best player on your team.
Yeah, arguably. You know what I mean? And he took over Joe Thornton for captain. Joe Thornton was the captain, and Patrick Marleau was on the team, and they still gave the captaincy to Pavelski. It just goes to show you how good he is. So he goes down, and I think that the refs made a call. It shouldn't have been a penalty, but at the end of the day, yeah, he's bleeding from his fucking head. It's disgusting. At the end of the day, the fucking Knights still let 4 goals in 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
So
Still deserve to lose the
you
game.
can blame the penalty for losing the game if you want, but at the end of the day, you lost. You 4 goals. Right?
Joyce Vieira flashes a flasher.
Oh, this is crazy. You see this?
I
So
haven't.
she's an amateur MMA fighter, but there's no video, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just pictures. And so, amateur MMA fighter in Brazil, she's smoke show. She takes pictures on Instagram. She's got like the big ass, exactly what you would think a Brazilian. She's Brazil. Like she's beautiful. The woman. She's beautiful.
She's got the big ass.
She got a huge ass. Those huge legs, and she's very sexy. And then some guy sticks his dick out to her, and she beats the shit out of him.
Talk
Some guy
about
flashes her. She beats the fuck.
So
out of
like I've never been a flasher, so I don't know the plight of their existence. But I imagine that the worst possible day is you flash and you get your ass kicked.
her by a girl. But she's also like big. She's not like small. She's got like muscles on her. If I see her, I'm not doing anything to offend her. And the least, I'm not even gonna look. I'm not even gonna look at the muscles, man. Her muscles have muscles.
Yeah.
And I'm not even gonna look at her wrong, just in case she beats the fuck out of me.
Yeah. Also, like,
And I'm also somebody
is
who's
flashing still a thing in 2019? So this dude was walking around with just a trench coat.
no, he was in his just a bathing suit, no shirt.
Was
Anyway,
in a nudist beach.
so good on him. She's gonna be in the UFC very quick just because of this.
Yankees injury bug.
Yeah, so this is bad. I don't know if I put the list on the prep.
Yeah.
So
Tulo, Severino, Stanton, Judge. Montgomery.
How not surprised you that Tulowitzki's injured?
I'm not surprised that Tulo's injured. But a lot of these are coming back end of May and things like that. But just to say, at this point, there's about 13 players gone. And Bedin says Didi Gregorius is a big loss. You're losing Severino as a starting pitcher. And they already had one of the best starting pitching lineups in the league. So, and you're losing Judge, Stanton. They're lucky.
It's
to
162 games.
That's it. They're lucky that it's happening now.
It's the best time to be hurt.
But a lot of the guys are coming back in August. They're going to come back injury-free and fresh.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of a blessing in disguise because they're still going to be there. They're still going to be fighting with Boston for number one in that division.
Yeah.
So if they can weather this storm, and they still have a good pitching, still have a good pitching staff and a good team. If they can weather the storm in August when everybody's healthy, they come back. Hopefully everybody's healthy. They can make a run and knock the Red Sox off their.
Oh,
off their
Terry,
high
we
horse.
all know a lot about sports.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, Duke doesn't know anything about science.
Nothing.
Years and years and years, I've been tossing him high school science
But
questions,
he's
and
also-
he's never known what the term means. But now, this is Science Hour with Duke. The rule is, whatever he describes, that is now what this word means. Terry, what is the word?
The word is, you might know this because you're a graphicist, dispersion.
What is dispersion, Duke?
I think it's when you distance yourself from animals.
Hey, you know what? It wasn't the definition before, but it is now.
It is now. Dispersion. Eagle,
You want to know what it means?
I think we're done. Thank you, Terry.
We don't want to know what
What
the
does it
old
mean,
definition
though?
was.
No,
does it
the
mean?
word,
We don't wanna know.
that's what it is now. This show's not about learning.
So,
Eagle, thank you.
lovemyscience.com, update your fucking site.
Seriously, get your shit ready. Thank you, Duke. This has been Hot Sauce Sports. From now on, if you find yourself too attracted to animals, you need some dispersion.
Trait cadging.
You need to disperse yourself from animals. No more having sex with lions.
Trait
Love it.
cadging.
Trade catcher.
Where's the song?
Trade 'em.
Oh, there's the song. For Terry, for Pease, for Eagle and Duke, this has been Hot Sauce Sports.
You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.